Coming to theaters February 8th, Taraji P. Henson is starring in What Men Want. What Men Want is an outrageously hilarious R-rated must-see comedy event that delivers wish fulfillment, fantasy, and fun from the same team who produced Girls Trip. What Men Want is about a woman who gains the incredible power to hear men's thoughts and how she uses her power to win in love and life. Taraji P. Henson is at her funniest in this role, and there's a hilarious supporting cast of comedy all-stars to make this film a must-see with all your girlfriends. I know we're gonna go. Are you? Don't forget to check it out on February 8th. What Men Want is coming to a theater near you.
Black Girl Podcast, episode 48. This is Safira M.
Gia Peppers.
This is Bex.
And Alicia P.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
What's up?
So Scotty isn't here. She is unfortunately, taking some time to herself, grieving. Her grandmother just passed away, so we're definitely keeping her.
We send our condolences
in our prayers. Grieving is super duper hard. So, she loves when you guys, reach out. We all do. So if you want, please send her some love, and light. We're praying for you, and we got to record a show. We're super excited to be here. Second episode of 2019.
We've been consistent. Everybody's been saying it on Twitter, like, oh, my God, another episode.
Another one? Right on time.
The GIFs are always hilarious.
They are.
Thank you. Please continue. I actually would like someone to do a thread of the best GIFs from our listeners. That would be fire. If you want to start it, sure, do it. Just hashtag BGP, Black Girl Pod. Which one do we use?
I know. What is our hashtag?
Black Girl Pod.
Black Girl Pod, right?
Yeah.
There it is.
Officially. Or BGP, yeah.
Or Black Girl Podcast.
And there's also Ask BGP where you guys can send us questions. I think you guys were doing some of that tonight as we're recording.
Yeah.
So that's super cool.
Yeah. We have some big news to talk about.
Super big news.
Who wants to go? You go. You're happy.
We're coming to Atlanta. Coming to Atlanta.
Wait, I don't think they understood.
I think, you know what, Saphira should take this over because Saphira's been reading a lot of the correspondences and I don't want to mess up any of the details.
We're coming to Atlanta for the first weekend of February. We'll be hosting a live show podcast with the cast of the new BET Boomerang TV series.
The women.
The women.
Yes, excuse me.
Good old girl talk.
So everybody get the RSVPing. The link is in
our page.
The link is in our bio in our Instagram page, and I believe it's also been tweeted out a couple of times. We are so excited to see you all, and I believe some of us are even looking for some glam team down in Atlanta. So if you do hair and makeup, if you just want to slay us, hit us up. Email us blackgirlpod@gmail.com so that we can see your work. Because we are coming to hot Atlanta.
And if you want to dress us too, like, hey, you want to see your styles on stage?
Hey, sure, that's
hit us
cute
up.
Ooh, that's cute.
Hit us up.
That's
and
real
that's
cute.
like, Nene Leaks, if you're listening, I would love to come to what's the boutique? Swag boutique.
High end.
Yes, high-end swag boutique with 2 G's and shop because I want to be on Real Housewives of Atlanta.
While we're at it, also,
Portia, if you're listening, we love you.
If you guys want to feed us while you're down there now,
Let's go to Candy's restaurant.
I know, right? Super cute.
We
Super
should.
cute.
We should.
Oh no, I'm going to see Auntie Joyce and them. I'm sorry, Mama Joyce.
That should be our meet and greet.
Yeah.
Speaking of meet and greets, if that doesn't make the cut, we are looking for amazing locations out in Atlanta for us to meet a lot of our listeners who are coming down, who live in Atlanta, who live in the surrounding areas, who are traveling down maybe for the BET experience. Let us know. House of BET, which is an extension, not the award show weekend.
Right, BET experience
different.
We're going to claim that too.
Come on. Touch and agree.
Let us know. Hit us up of any locations that you guys think that we should come to.
That'll be super dope. I'm excited. I think we were all booking our flights this week. I just was laughing at Gia because
hey, your business. Don't be telling the business.
Spreading her business.
I didn't book my flight yet, y'all. I'm gonna get it today.
Yeah.
But speaking of what's been going on today, what's been up with everybody? How's everybody been?
Good.
Yes, Bex. I'm sure you have been good.
I've been busy.
Yeah,
I've been very busy. Getting acclimated to a lot of new, a lot of unexpected new, a lot of, I thought that was it. Okay. New. That and also like booking a lot of projects. producing a series focused on women in sneaker culture. Also doing social media content for a social media manager who works for Vogue magazine and has decided to go.
Congratulations!
And has decided to go and do some consulting work, and so has brought me on to do some content for her. Yeah.
She just threw that in there, by the way.
I'm also doing a campaign piece focused on women with a clothing line soon to be disclosed. I'm shooting the first part of it this weekend. That's gonna be really exciting, and yeah, just more work. I shot an incredible. That's pompous to say. But I shot a piece for Robbie Raw. Alicia had introduced me to him, and he needed a videographer at the last moment to come and shoot him while he was performing and also edit the piece. Him and Stout, who he opened for as well. Both incredible performers, amazing voices, incredible energy on stage. Super grateful that they both promoted my work as well on their platform. So I'm super, super thankful for that. It gave me a lot of exposure, and it let me build a lot more confidence in my work and like what I'm really able to execute with my eye, and like really just paying attention to curating that. So that on top of moving and buying furniture, and really, I thought I was looking at my money before. I am staring down my money now, and I'm actually hoping that in some time in the future we can have a financial advisor on the show just to talk about like planning for the future.
My homegirl is one,
especially
actually.
for those who don't have necessarily 401ks, who are in a freelance life and who are thinking about retirement. Like, what exactly is your safety net? How do you guarantee that, you know, in your old age that you'll be living comfortably? So just stuff like that, planning for the future, and planning for tomorrow, like literally the next 24 hours, and making sure that I'm living in limits that I set for myself for reasons that are like just adult like. So it's a huge learning experience, a lot of learning curves, but I like new. I'm growing to like new. It feels good. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but it feels good.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, picked up one day. She just picked up a camera, and now she's just shooting
And never
for
looked
everyone.
back.
Now,
What is your favorite new so far?
My favorite new, and it might be minor. Sorry if I'm discounting it, but I parked up my car, so I completely put it on ice, and I'm completely living like back to the MTA subway, train station, buses, and just like walking everywhere, which isn't a bad thing at all. But I just had to. It's just let me tell you something I realized though having taken the train, there's a lot more time to think to yourself, a lot more time to read, there's a lot more time to listen to music, like without having to worry if your music is too loud or if you're gonna miss your turn or if you're running the red light. And I also noticed that there's a lot of poverty in this city.
oh yes.
And you don't really get to see that when you're in your car in and out, because you're just in your car in and out. But there's a lot of poverty, there's a lot of desperation in the streets, and it's really like, it's kind of overwhelming, because you get to your maybe office building and you have a view of the skyline. You're just like, such an incredible city. Like, I wonder who lives right there. You're looking at the topmost window of a skyscraper, and then you take the subway and you see somebody like with no shoes, ripped coats, begging for $1 to just have something to eat. It's really like.
And also, you'd be surprised that it's not just in the city. It's
not.
Literally sometimes around the corner from where you live.
Absolutely. So it's kind of like, it's heightening my compassion. And eventually there's going to be something I have to do about it. I just haven't figured out what that's going to be, but it's too in my face for me to not take action in some way, shape, or form. So hopefully that comes sooner than later. But yeah, that too. Sorry I didn't bring it down, but yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's not just poverty, it's also sickness. Like, it's just, we ignore a lot of shit, but it's there. Sorry, guys.
Congratulations on your life, really.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just happy for you. I mean, I just remember when you were like, yeah, so I bought a camera. Like 2 weeks ago. Just kidding. It wasn't 2 weeks.
It took a while. It took a while, but I'm more clear on where I want to take it.
Yeah.
So I'm better at putting myself in places with the right people, the right programs, the right like workshops and stuff like that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, keep your pencil open for we'll get some stuff soon. But yeah, I'll send all kind of trash bags. Good
Thank
stuff.
y'all. Thank
Even
y'all.
though we do have to feed the homeless eventually.
We do.
Like we need to actually, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's actually you get desensitized to it.
Yes,
because
that's the problem.
I've been taking
right.
the train for years now, and also I've also seen the other side of it, like the news reports that show homeless people getting in a car after going up and down subway platforms and trying to do that. And then I'm like, but on the other side, there are people who you can tell they don't fit. Like they stink like they've been outside for 2-4 days. Like it's like it's an overwhelming experience, and you can't escape it on the train. I think that's where it gets you. Like you can't look the other way. Nowhere else to look. Standing right in front of you. And you're just like, okay, I wish I had $1. I wish I had cash. But then you have to think about, do I have $1 to get on the subway? Like, little things. Like, it balances itself out.
It tears you apart because you don't know what's the best decision.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, welcome to the train.
Not welcome. Like she never took it.
Well, welcome back. We
Yeah.
missed you on the C. What do you take? The C?
A-C.
A-C-E.
Yeah. Primarily. Yeah.
You're so cute. You're so cute.
Yeah.
What have I been up to? Trying to just stay in front of the camera, like, as much as possible. Like, not, I think one of the biggest things that everyone always talks about is, like, when you're creative, if you're not creating, it really just takes away from your spirit. So I'm like, if I'm not working, it's going to take away from my spirit, and I have to work. So I've been doing a lot more, with BT and the BT Breaks team, and I'm super excited that we're doing this as a Black Girl podcast and not just as like, a few of us are going. So I'm super excited that that's happening, and I did see What Men Want last night. Girl, it is really good.
I'm excited to see that.
I'm not gonna hold you.
I didn't even know till Tracy Morgan was in it until the billboards on the buses started popping up.
Tracy Morgan is hilarious in it. I mean, of course, it's Tracy Morgan.
I'm not gonna say of course because I'm usually not laughing at Tracy
you're not?
Morgan unless it's Take a Doodoo Pie when he did this SNL skit with Britney Spears from way back.
You didn't laugh at him as on Martin?
Yeah, I laughed at him on Martin, but I credit that to the producers and the writers behind the scenes. I know you said. I know Seth feels like
Tracy Morgan,
and also
made that character.
The new show, The Last OG, is actually really funny. It's Tiffany Haddish. She's like his ex, and he comes back from jail, and he wants her back. It's Cedric the Entertainer running a halfway house. Like, it's pretty funny. I fall asleep in front of it.
Pick Up the Pieces is a classic.
Come on.
Pick up the pieces. Pick up the pieces.
I will say this, that I appreciate Tracy Morgan's person better now. I can't say better now, but I appreciate his person a lot now because of his perspective on life. Like whenever they try to give him a media question that brings tension to the room, he definitely answers it not in a way where it's media training, but more so like my perspective on life and how I'm going to move forward and approach things is just entirely different. Like he doesn't know language anymore besides that lane.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy like listening to him speak now because of, I think Safia said earlier, like his.
I didn't say that earlier.
No, off mic.
It got cut off.
Yeah.
Off mic.
Sorry.
I was trying to blend it to off mic.
But yeah.
But you had said.
No, but I think that the best part of all this is that like Tracy really came back from like the trauma of not being able to speak, not being able to walk, and now he move and he takes it so seriously.
Right.
And I think it's dope that he still was like, okay, but I'm not going to become a serious actor. I'm going to go back to what I'm good at. Like I'm going to do comedy. I'm going to make sure that people laugh and smile, and I'm going to be a light in their darkness. And I think that's really dope. And he brings that to the What Women Want like character. He's funny. Taraji like really owns it, which is really dope to see. And then the cast, there's a lot of people I didn't expect to see in it. I don't want to ruin it for people because I was like, oh. But y'all watched Underground on WGN. Y'all remember Aldous Hodge?
Oh yes,
He plays her love interest. When I tell you, that man's gonna get every film from now on. He looks good.
Remind me what else he played in?
A kind-hearted man, huh?
What else did he play
I don't
in?
know.
Eldridge Horror?
I don't know what else besides Underground.
I just want a visual picture real quick.
Google it
he's
for you.
nice,
Show you.
tall,
He's a
and chocolate.
I mean,
man.
that's all I, okay.
Yes. But anyway, I've seen it, and
That's
it's
all
really
I
good, outside of
That's all I need.
everything. And then like today, so I'm going up to Boston this weekend. Super excited. But today I was looking for a church to go to because I'm going to be there over the weekend. And so I was Googling churches. And my friend who was killed when we were just graduating from college, I forgot her dad has a church. Wow. And so I Googled it, and I Googled his name, and a recent article came up that came out like 2 years ago and was like the 3 slain women in Boston, their parents are still one. And it just made me think like, yo, time stopped for her and her whole family when she was killed. Wow. And this was 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And all I keep thinking, I was like, at that time I was in college. We were all just starting, like, you're just getting out in the world. You're trying to get your feet wet. And I just was crying because I was just like, you didn't get to see it. Like, you didn't even get to be here. It's so crazy because somebody had a gun and sprayed up a car. Like, they still don't know exactly who the shooters are. There was one girl that was targeted. Police won't say who. But, like, I just was thinking about how precious life is, and I was thinking about my godmother, and like it's just so crazy because literally one day you could be here and the next gone. Like the concept of that we are walking on borrowed time is wild if you really try to take it all in. So I'm just like processing all that, like,
and it's not even hard. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think even the language that we use to explain that, like how it's precious and borrowed time, I don't even think it touches
what
like,
it really
means, because that concept is like you don't know tomorrow what can happen. You don't know the next minute.
And so I was just thinking about everything. I was like, God, I need to be a better. I need to live on purpose. I need to like make sure that I'm not just here because I can. Like the fact that we have breath in our lungs is really a blessing. Like tomorrow we could walk outside and something can happen and you don't know. Right. And been watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy, and that always makes me think like these people were just like, we were just doing something and then I fell off. Grey's Anatomy. They be keeping you in perspective. You like, you right. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna get back to working out.
Be in a hospital and get shot up. Okay. Be in a car crash.
Right.
Get on a plane. Bro. Dang, we gotta get on a plane next week. Let me shut up.
Yeah.
And so right.
Yeah.
Can you knock, please?
I don't need to do these superstitious things.
Oh, you do other superstitious.
You gonna do that tonight though?
And so
knock on that wood. Thank
especially
you.
if you're on my flight.
Yeah. So I was just thinking like,
she didn't knock the wood. As we're going,
I hate y'all.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh my God.
Tangent. Right.
No, it's not the best time.
representation of that. We're gonna not. But I think that so I was just thinking about that and like just how important it is to just like, I'm like, I gotta be a better person and just a better friend and a better human being and actually like exist in a space that's not just like letting things pass by, like like actually being like, yo, this is dope, like what we're doing is dope, we should be happy that we're here and we have this moment and this opportunity and this platform, but not even that, just like a platform of our lives, like it's a blessing. So I was just thinking about that, like it's just wild. Life is short.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And long, but short.
Yes.
You guys should set a grateful alarm. I set an alarm at 7:26 every day except Thursday because that's when my therapy session is. And every time it goes off, I just say one thing I'm grateful for. That's and it really helps my day.
Why that time specifically?
I don't know. I think that's the time I thought about it and I just did it. No specific relation to anything. But it helps. Like, even on my way here, shitty mood, and that came on. And the mood that I was shitty for, I still was grateful for. I even said it then, like, okay, I'm grateful for this, even though it's pissing me off today. So you guys should do it. It helps.
I like that.
I
like that. Set a grateful
Small
alarm.
Reminder.
Whatever time you're listening to this right now, set your grateful alarm.
Ding.
That's
Ding, and tweet us. What time is your grateful alarm? But yeah, so okay, what else has everyone been up to? I feel like I'm missing things, but we'll be here. We've got other episodes.
Right. I started training my first private dance client yesterday.
Private dancer.
I'm so excited. And I actually got another client based off of just like posting. So it's kind of different because I've been teaching dance, but I haven't exactly been within the dance world and community as much as I should be. So just been talking to my friends and stuff that I've danced with, like, hey, let's start training together again, because I don't want to be training other people and not be on my shit. But last night's training was actually really good. I'm not sure if she'll mind that I disclose this. I posted on social media, but anyway, training Ashley Acuna from the Grapevine TV show. And one of the things that she said when she walked into the training, she's like, oh my God, we're starting with ballet. I hate ballet. But when she left, she was like, you know what? Thank you so much for making ballet fun again for me. And I was talking to my cousin earlier about it. Like when we grew up dancing, everybody, I mean, I'm sure we've all heard this in different ways, but like ballet is definitely the foundation for every other discipline in dance. So I just became so accustomed to it. And then like there's such grace and such discipline within and strengthening within doing ballet that it's just like it just was very calming to be able to share that my gift with somebody else in that close proximity in a private session. So that was really cool. What else have I been up to? Just being me, you know, sassy. Sassbox has a new logo. And there's some new things coming out from Sassbox this year I'm really excited about. Definitely in the next month too. So you guys will see that. But I'm just chilling. That's it.
Yeah, mommy, you look like cute. You look like a dancer and like and stuff. Like,
Do I? Like I got a little dancer look. Like my baby hairs is like boo boo.
And
Like
very full.
thank
I gotta
you.
say, and like with the wrap you do. Like,
Thank
it's really
you.
cute.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
it's the plaid.
Thank you very much. We put a picture up for you guys
Yeah. We
later.
have to do a video too, so they can see the plans.
No, y'all not looking at these plaits. I had to. No, I had just had to twist my hair up so that you know my naps wouldn't be showing. But
I have the plans on my
Okay.
Instagram. Like Gia Peppers. But I like the earrings too, mommy. You fucking it up.
I ain't trying. Alicia, how have you been? Gia always brings out like a different person in somebody else. So,
Why that
I do
accent?
bring out the better person. I'm just like,
so you trying to say that the better person in me is a 45-year-old Spanish woman? Because that's what I was channeling just now.
who?
Griselda. How you been, Alicia?
Griselda Blanco.
Griselda.
Exactly who you talking
Okay.
about. She still got a G name, so she
Are
popular.
Oh, God.
so fucking aggy for that. That was annoying. What have I been up to? Oh, before I forget, I mentioned, I think it was the last episode or one of these episodes where I discussed I took my mom to get a makeover, and I really, really, I wanted to shout out. I gave special shout out to my barber that helped me with my uncle, and I totally forgot to mention my homegirl Danielle at Hair Karma in Montclair, New Jersey. She hooked my mom up. I was listening back to the episode, and I instantly felt bad that I didn't shout her out as much praise as I gave the barber Travis for holding my uncle down. But my mom has been so happy about her hair. I have been so happy to see my mom happy in that light. Every 2 seconds she's like doing her hair, but I
What did she get? She got a bob or something?
I'm about to say, sis got a weave.
Right, what she got?
She did. It
bob
was her
and
first
weave.
one ever in her life.
Go ahead,
So
ma.
she's in the mirror just like swooping it up. It's the funniest
You
shit
gave
ever.
her a 40-inch City Girls, or how you do this?
No, I didn't.
I know you ain't give your mother a 3-piece.
What is it? 52 piece? 42 piece? What is it called? The quick weave.
Okay.
No, she didn't get a quick
Oh,
weave.
'cause I was like-
but I'm just
Is
making
the quick
fun
weave
of
the
it.
glue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
And it's 3 different pieces in
I
it.
would do that to my mom. No, but shout out to Danielle.
Yeah,
At
that's crazy.
Hair Karma, excuse me.
didn't
Montclair,
tell me
New
how many
Jersey.
inches?
She does. I don't know how many inches
okay.
she is.
We're going to post a picture of mom
Is it
if you
long?
let us.
Stop telling these lies.
Was it longer? Is it longer?
No, it's a short. It's like
Oh, it's a
like
bob.
here, like yeah.
Okay,
it's
cute.
Like chin height. Yeah, so I really, 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 really wanted to say thank you to her. Danielle has been hooking my hair up for the last couple of years, and she's been holding me down. Thank you, Sav. Sorry about that.
I met her, right? In
Yeah,
Jersey?
you actually
Yeah.
came to her salon. Yeah, you
Sweet
came to her
woman,
salon.
yeah.
Yeah. Her own salon, her own business, black woman with a every Saturday.
Nice
that I
little
try to call her,
neighborhood.
she's like, "You're calling me on Saturday, and you know I'm busy." Well, she'll take me anyway because she
Wow,
loves me.
that's
She won't say
love.
it, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
To
she
be in a
holds me
seat on
down.
a Saturday?
so right. And she's always busy. I might be there all day, but she takes me. But shout out to her. Really, 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 really appreciate it. I just had to get that out there because I felt really bad when I listened to the last episode. What have I been up to? Since the last episode, I just want to thank everybody for reaching out. I was gonna cut it out, and I'm glad I didn't. I don't know if I told y'all, but since that episode, actually before I made the decision to air it, I let my therapist hear it with me.
Oh, that's dope.
Not intentionally. I wanted to actually listen to it before I went to therapy, and I just didn't have the time at work. And when I got there, I was letting her know that the night before I had recorded, and I left with like heavy energy. Heavy energy, and I wanted to be able to speak to her with a clear mind on how I felt about it. But because I didn't, I just asked her, like, do you want to hear what I discussed? And she let me hear it, and that was like the first, and I don't want to say real because everything I discussed to her is real, but this is the first thing that I felt was like the deepest that we've discussed and touched yet. And she heard it, and she was like, I'm proud of you for just even, having the courage to talk about it. She just was like, remember that the choice is yours. You don't have to do this to be a voice for anyone else but you, wow. Which is a perspective that I didn't think about before, because that was one thing that I kept saying, oh, if I do this, then it might help someone else. And she was like, you don't owe that to anyone but you yourself. Until you're prepared. Mm-hmm. And that's why I kind of sat with the edit really long, because I was really tugging of war and back and forth. I let like one other person hear it, and I just waited out, and I just prayed on it a little bit, and I just let it go, and I was nervous. And plus, it was on video, and I was really scared because I wanted to make sure I protected my mother, my family. I didn't want it to come off as I wasn't doing that. And video was intimidating, so I was really trying to figure out if I wanted to do that. But because of the conversation I had with her and like 2 other people, I decided to put it out. And the outreach after it wasn't as overwhelming as I thought it was going to be, but it was enough for me to just know that 2 things. So many people, both even close to me and just complete strangers, like opened up to me and let them know at 5 they felt the same way. I had close family members and friends even tell me, hey, I never told you, but this is what happened to me twice at this. Like, these are people that I've known for like 20 years. Mm-hmm. And they came out to me after I came out and said something. And it just was, it was heavy. I'm trying not to make the episode go there, but it was just heavy to see that so many women really keep silent. And I think that's what really bothered me on that episode, is that we don't realize, society doesn't realize how many people keep these things to men as well. I'm sure if we had a conversation about sexual abuse, molestation, or rape, how many men are kept silent as well. And it's completely different for them in wanting to be able to even be open to talk about it. So, and it just kept me thinking, and I just was like, I can't believe like how many people, especially close to me, had to go through these things and never spoke about it to anyone until they DM'd me or until they heard me. And it was just very overwhelming.
It was brave. That's what it was.
Thank you, but that's...
I mean, I understand for you feel overwhelmed.
Brave. And it's also...
But it was very brave.
My friend, Samantha Bone, who is no longer a Bone. Sam Bone is what I call her, though. She said something that made me realize. She was like, do you even realize that you used your voice at 5? And I was like, oh, shit. Like, I didn't even think about it like that. Even at 5, right. I had enough... will and
agency
to just be like, I have to say something.
Mm-hmm. And you knew.
And I'm not even saying that to boast myself. I just didn't look at it like that until she said that. And when she said it, I was like, oh my God, I really did.
It's also like, take the strength from then, right, and still live with it, because every situation is different. Every 5-year-old is not aware of something being wrong or not. Yeah. Because at that moment, innocence is being taken from you. Right. So you were strong then, take that strength from being 5 then and carried it through to today is bravery. Wow. Yeah. But I understand how it can be overwhelming for you because, like your therapist said, you don't need to feel like you're doing it for anybody, not your mother, not your, because I get protecting them, but this was for you.
Yeah. And I'm not even gonna front, and I'll just be transparent. I don't even know if I was still 100% ready. I just feel like I was closer to the spectrum of 100% that I was just like.
It's a reason why it happened.
Yeah, and even if even if I don't know what it is yet, I'm sure that's gonna come down the line soon. But yeah, a couple of even my homeboy Jameson reached out to me. He was the one person that made me cry, and I couldn't believe how enraged he was and how he wanted to protect me, even though it was like, don't make me cry, y'all. Even though it was like 20 plus years ago, just to hear how enraged he was about it, just really touched me, and it just showed how people perceive me and how they see me as one thing, but me being so vulnerable to talk about it kind of put a different perspective on who I am and maybe why I act as such, or just, it was just a lot. And I just didn't think it would be so much. I really didn't. And I'm sure Deani probably felt the same way. Even Deani Scotty texted me and just was like, I don't know why, but I felt like I needed to protect you. And I prayed for you today. And, you know, I just wanted you to know, like, I needed to feel like you were protected. And it's just that all of that was just, and it was all happening within the same time. So just imagine family members telling you, hey, yeah, this happened to me too. Friends hitting you up like, yeah, we were destined to be friends because of this. And it was just a lot. And it was overwhelming. Even leaving that day, and I'll be transparent, even leaving that day, I felt uneasy. I felt like we didn't talk about everything. And I know we were in a rush to, not in a rush, but I think we had to wrap at that point because we had, you know, we were there for some time. But even the way we ended the conversation was just, it left me heavy. Like, it made me feel like I didn't get to say everything that I wanted to say. Like, I still feel like I didn't use my voice. And I don't think, Gia, you did it intentional. Like, I don't think the way we ended, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the way we ended the episode was just kind of like, wait, we can't talk about rape culture yet. And I don't think you intentionally did that. But even the fact that I couldn't still finish what I had to say just showed how much more anger I still had in me. And again, I just want to make it clear, I don't think you intentionally did something to not, like, to cut the conversation off. But the fact that it was cut off and I wasn't able to have the conversation about rape culture, or be able to even tell other stories that has happened to me, because that was just one of them, just let me know there's so much more for me to say and so much more for me to do, that now it's something that I'm really looking to bring more to the forefront. I've mentioned to you guys before, I wanted to start working on a documentary on a friend of mine who was sexually abused by her father. And ever since that Surviving R. Kelly docuseries, ever since our last episode, I have been really, like, propelling forward with wanting to do it. So at this point, it's kind of like, I have to, because I have so much more in me. And even just from that episode, not being able to completely finish my statement and how I felt just shows me, like, I had to use my voice, and I still have to use my voice. And there's so many people that need me, even though my therapist said it's not for anybody else but me. But I think at this point, I think now I'm in the seat to feel like it's for me and I can do it now. Like, I'm ready.
No, I definitely didn't mean to cut off the conversation. It was just, we had camera people, we had interns, and we were going on hour 3 in the studio, even though we were only 2 hours in on the show. So I was just like, we have to wrap. Like, and unfortunately, the conversation is just so large that one podcast episode I don't think is enough for it.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's start here. I think, you know, we have to start. And I think that it's brave that you started with a personal story that really helped a lot of people. So yeah, I definitely apologize. I didn't make you.
No, that's the only reason why I even said something is because a listener actually reached out and mentioned it, because I felt something leaving, and I wasn't sure what I was feeling was because of what was being discussed. But then when a listener said something, I was like, okay, well, maybe then you know, maybe I'll address it. Because I wasn't sure. You don't know when you're having these discussions if you're making like a rational, like conscious decision of what you're actually feeling. And then when I received that, I was like, okay, well then maybe someone else felt like it might have been insensitive, even though I don't think that was necessarily your intention, but it did come off to not just me like that. So I wanted to make sure I addressed it on air so that whomever might have felt some type of way just knew that I didn't take it as an intentional thing, but also give you your time to say your piece.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional. It was just, we run a show here. And we have to.
But I do think we need to have a conversation, because a lot of people have been hitting me up, like personally in DM, wanting to have the conversation about rape culture. I think Scotty Beam absolutely should be here for that as well. So we shouldn't talk about it today. But I mean, thank you all. I'm taking time to let it retain and settle in. Another note, therapy. I actually was talking to Rebecca about this. My therapist really came for me the other day. And at first I was like, sis, who are you coming for like that? But I had to take a second and like realize what she was saying was right. So in the session, regular conversation about everything that was going on. We talked about the podcast. We talked about updates. It's actually kind of run like the podcast. It's actually really funny. We give updates and then we talk about shit. And she was trying to tell me how proud of me she was. And I would be like, yeah. And then immediately say something to counteract what she was proud of and beat myself up for it. And I think I did it like 3 or 4 times. And she was like, stop. You constantly do this. It's like I'm dealing with 2 people. It's like you're taking a bat and you're constantly beating on yourself. And I was taken aback, like, who's she talking to? Wait a minute. Right. And then I was like, and I started to laugh. And I was like, you know what? I can't even be mad at that. I said, you're absolutely correct. I said, I do beat myself up. She said, you have to take a beat. And just, 1, let me talk. And 2, it's okay for you to feel like you need to cry. It's okay for you to feel like you're not doing enough or feel like you need to ask a why, but you do not need to beat yourself up in the process. And I just was quiet after that. I just was listening. And that just made me really think about how much work I actually have to do on myself. No matter how self-aware you think you are, there's so many things that you have to like work on with someone else outside of yourself, if that makes any sense. And I'm really starting to see the work. Lately, I've just been super emotional. Sometimes I'll cry randomly out of nowhere. And just speaking to people who I know who have been in therapy mention, like, that's just the process. And it's the work manifesting. And I'm like, I don't have time to be emotional and cry. I don't have time to be
That's
sad
why you should
and
be in
mad.
therapy.
Or like, it's almost like euphoria and then pits and then center. So, and I'm not saying this to scare anyone from therapy. In a sense, in my subconscious mind, deep down somewhere, it's relieving because at least I'm getting the shit out. But it's just so heavy sometimes. So with that, I took my ass to Houston to go see my family, my cousin Danielle and Amy, to get some much needed tender loving care from my family. My cousin Danny's birthday was on Sunday, so I took a last minute flight to go see her, and it was the most amazing exhale that I have been able to take in a really long time. And I got to party with them. I got to explore Houston. Houston has some really beautiful black ass people with black ass businesses that I adore. I didn't see not one white person. And I was in some really good parts of town. Yeah. It made me feel really good. I don't know why, but it made me feel really good to see, like, just young professionals just living and creating businesses and estates for their family. I met the owner of a really popular restaurant called the Breakfast Club. His name was Rod, and Marcus is the owner, I believe. And we were just talking about black business, and it just felt so good to just have that conversation. then that was just it. I just had like really much needed tender love and care from my family. We laughed, we joked, we cried, we did everything, drank.
You look like you had fun. I was peeping your Insta
The
stories.
food is fucking amazing. Have y'all been to Houston? Have you ever been to
I'm
Texas?
going, yeah.
I'm in Texas. No, I don't think
I haven't been to
Houston.
Texas yet, though.
Houston
I'm
is
trying to go
fire.
too. I saw you were with our friend Avery.
Oh yes.
I was
went to
texting
see
him the
Avery.
other day. I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "Oh, I'm getting ready to do this." I said, "Can you put my name down? I'm coming."
Right. Yeah, he mentioned some things to me too, and I was like, yeah, I think I need to come back down. 3 days wasn't enough, and people were like DMing me like, "Where are you eating? This food looks fire."
Yes.
Yo, grits and catfish out there, they got it down. If you go anywhere, just order catfish and grits. You're gonna have a good time.
Alicia eats amazing. I don't know
Yes.
if y'all have ever. I was one of your DMers. I'm like,
Yes.
I just want to be your stomach when I grow up.
Oh,
Cause
No.
Alicia
As a matter of fact,
really.
you don't.
really
Because
nice.
it
know?
is
That's a
Texas.
great.
I mean,
Right.
sounds attractive.
I lied. So.
Yeah, but I ate a lot and I laughed a lot and I
And you went to
needed it.
Beyonce's childhood home.
Oh
What
my
are you
God!
talking
I
about?
Yeah.
did. Yo, sis, her neighborhood was cute.
Affluent?
Yeah, they were. I mean, he was a exec at Xerox before he went into
Oh yeah,
management.
touche. I forgot about that.
Ask me more Beyonce facts later.
I cannot. I really can't.
I mean, it was like a nice suburban, and I'm almost positive it was probably like a black neighborhood, but like a good, healthy black neighborhood with young professionals, like the same people that I'm talking about, that I saw when I went down there. But it was just cool to just be even in just the essence of where she grew up. And I just was thinking like, oh, I wish somebody can do that for me or us one day. It's going to be amazing to see how people, you know.
Y'all gonna be riding around Cambria
Yeah, gonna
and
be
Jersey
and
and
orangey Jersey.
Elmont, Piscataway, and PG County. When we
Yeah, I'm confused.
become more successful,
I was like,
Alicia just said it. She can't wait for somebody to do that for us. Like
Oh,
how
to
people go
walk
visit
around our
Beyonce's
house.
neighborhood.
Got it.
They'll be visiting all 5 of our neighborhoods.
Yes.
Oh, I
It was
got
just
lost.
really,
I
it was
like,
just dope to be around that. Even though it's just her house, it's just like, damn, this is where one of the greatest entertainers of our generation, this is where she came from. Just the fact of me wanting to go there.
Near her house. That shit is
Right,
crazy.
right.
Like, this is Beyonce's house? Nah.
But other than that,
Yeah, it was a documentary. It is.
I know. I saw.
It's right there.
yeah, that's the
It's
one.
quite
The
big.
White House.
That's dope.
I miss therapy. Just hearing you talk about, the conversations you had with your therapist and stuff like that. I had to cancel my recent session because she's always booked up. And yeah, you have to book like weeks in advance to the point where it's like you go through a lot of life before you can sit and talk to her again, which I don't blame her for. Like she's good. She's good. But I miss having like the ability to sit and really talk it out. Like just completely bear with somebody and then be like, well, you said this last time, and remembering that like, oh, I'm not done working on that yet. Or this is just it manifesting again in a situation that I'm not noticing. But I haven't had a good release in a while, and I think it's because I haven't had ability to really converse that way with somebody. Yeah, I miss therapy.
I was actually, because initially, I don't know if I mentioned this before, and if I did, cover your ears if you heard it already. I
Press
had
pause.
I had started to feel dependent of wanting to go really early on. Like I had like small urges of like, I can't wait till Thursday. And I was like, wait. I don't know if I like that. I don't want to be this dependent so early. And I was speaking to somebody at work, and he was just like, wait. And this person is not even in therapy. We were actually looking for therapists for this person. And they were like, wait, don't look at it like that. Think about it like when you have a cold and you have to blow your nose, and that release that you feel when you blow your nose is, you know that you'll be able to breathe again. And until that cold is cured, that's what you have to do to be able to get it out. And I was just like, oh, thank you for saying that, because I was starting to feel really dependent. And that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like when I have a cold, you blow your nose and you get like that 10 minutes of like fresh air and you can breathe. And then it happens again. So I completely can understand where you're coming from, because when I have a heavier week, I'm like, I can't wait to speak to someone non-biased.
And I see that, you know, you have like your perspective on things. You're accepting that there's a different perspective. You're not just like, yeah, I know, but it's like, oh, okay, and then you adopt it, and then you move forward with that new adoption. So I'm seeing that in you, which is
Thank
great.
God.
It's more glass half full
Ooh,
in how you
Jesus.
proceed, which is really, really good.
Thank you, Lord.
As two people who have gone to therapy, do you feel like it's beneficial to also have someone in your life that you can just both pour into each other? Like,
Yes, I want
you
to
know?
say
Yes,
the
but
one.
no, go ahead. Finish your thought.
It has to be a healthy person.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what my therapist told me is the person that I confide in. One of her favorite people is the person that I confide in. And the reason why she thinks it's okay for me to pour into him is because he's in therapy and he's healthy. She said, all these other people in your life are great. And from what you're telling me, not that they're not healthy, but the person that I see that you go to confide in is healthy because, not just because he goes to therapy, but because he's also doing the work.
And that's also how you build healthy relationships in your life.
Right.
You know?
So within that, and it's kind of hard because it's someone I'm dating as well. It's kind of hard because I'm trying not to pour into you because, one, I don't want you to see me like that. Two, I don't want you to see me like that. And three, it's kind of like, no, because that was really important. Like, I don't want anybody to see my weakness.
Oh no, I've
Especially
gotten to a
when
point where like, please look at every single
Right,
part of me.
right, right, right.
Please.
I was
take
gonna
a
say,
good look.
why
It's
don't
like,
But
you?
it's not because we're still dating. Like,
Okay.
this is not.
It's not commitment.
Is
Right,
he
but
in
it's
therapy as well?
Yes, he's in. So it's almost like a safe space.
So why are you hesitant with him though he's in therapy and not hesitant with
Because
your?
it's still early.
Okay.
Yeah, and like if this was someone that was my boyfriend of 2 years or a year, then that's different.
Okay.
But it's still early, so I don't know what my working leash looks like to you. But thankfully, because he's been in therapy, he's able to be like, I know this is the workings of a better you.
Yeah.
And-
Just be mindful though, because while you're working to not show the vulnerability, you're showing something.
Right. Absolutely.
So you don't want to be working so hard to not show vulnerability and not show weakness to the point where it's like, is that really Alicia?
Right. And that's another thing. It's you still got to tread light and be careful with how much you indulge in having conversations about, especially just being like, my therapist said, what did your therapist say?
Yeah.
You got to be careful with that as well. There's got to be a sense of what's the word I'm looking for? Not exclusivity. You just got to be careful. You got to teeter the
Some
lines
type of division.
Yes. Of communicating to each other about what each other's therapist is saying, especially if it's about each other, because I'm sure he might say something about me, and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting that you brought it up, because we do have conversations with each other about, I brought you up, or it was discussed, but I think we both know that it's still our session.
Right.
It's not, I'm going to a session for us. It's my conversation, and I'm still going to discern what I'm going to tell you, but what I do share will be like, okay, at the end of the day, this is like the message kind of thing. Or at the end of the day, this is where I need to, or I understand this better kind of thing.
Right.
Because I still want to respect the privacy. And I also want my privacy to be respected as well.
Right. And I think that's a given. It's in my situation personally. But to answer your question more directly, I do think it's healthy as long as the person is healthy and as long as you're conscious of what you're doing as well. So.
Because I only asked that because when in the meantime, like Rebecca, you're not attending sessions right now. Do you feel like you have that person that if you need to, like you can just be like, or maybe it's multiple people,
I have been able to let go, but it hasn't been the same way. Like I've been able to peel away a layer of myself and show vulnerability and be honest about like, listen, I'm not like, I just feel like I'm incapable right now. I feel embarrassed right now. Like saying that to somebody, not wanting them to think or see you as like any less than the superhero that you posed yourself to be.
Right.
But
like more
I've
in
been
touch with your feelings, essentially.
Yeah, 'cause
more
it's kind of like,
emotionally intelligent.
Exactly. I'm not going to go backwards. Like, I refuse to go backwards to lock myself up with my emotions. I'd rather just, like, let go. And I told myself I was supposed to been doing this, so let go. And then whenever I do, it's kind of like, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
At least now you know, and you understand when I do X, Y, and Z, and I'm maybe like, I'll ask for forgiveness later, is because I'm working on those things I've already told you about.
Right.
You know, or you understand why I need space or why I'm quiet is because I may be working through it, what I just told you, or whatever the case. But it's more like you're aware. I'm giving you permission or access, I should say, into like what's really going on. But really talking about like, and that's just for me now present, but talking about things that that still hurt me from the past and what the past means for now and what it's not going to mean for the future. I don't talk about stuff like that because I feel like it's just, I don't know what it is. And I'd rather have a conversation first with someone that is disciplined
And
to really unpack that with me first. And then I can.
Professional and unbiased.
Healthy.
Those are like
Yeah.
the 3 important things to when you want to indulge in something that's really bothering you. Because while you have someone that you love, they're going to have an unconscious bias towards you, even if they feel they're playing devil's advocate. There's still going to be like a subconscious bias. So I completely understand where you're coming from. Completely get it.
So
Therapy's working.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy for both of you guys.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
This is kind of hard to say. I don't know why. You brought up something about when your therapist was like, something positive always happens and you fight it or you kill it. So as of late, a lot of people have been saying, I'm so proud of you. Like, yo, keep going. I'm so proud of you. And I'm not accepting it. I start killing them. Like, fuck out of here. Like, whatever. You don't mean that shit. And it's bad. Yeah, I do. It's like, it's not like I say it, but it's like a quick emotion. And I'm like, why do I do that?
Are you proud of you?
Right now, yes, but not a lot.
Right.
That's where it's coming from. And it's really funny that you said that because my brother told me earlier that I'm not proud of myself. And when he said it, I was like...
Your brother told you that you are not proud
He
of yourself.
said, you don't believe in yourself. And other people have said that to me before. And I'm not taking away from what you're saying. But
go on.
what I took from Seth saying it, especially today, was like...
Your brother.
Yes. It was just like... I couldn't say nothing except for, you know what?
You're right.
You're right. But I'm going to work to be, more believing in myself and more proud of the things that I'm doing. And I know that it's not going to be an overnight thing. So in regards to your projects you're working on, everyone is starting to see the fruits of your labor that you have been behind the scenes, like getting together. So that's what's happening. And everybody is starting to see, oh my God, like Bex is doing it. While you may feel you're still a work in progress.
I feel like, dang, this entire time I wasn't shit, huh?
No,
I haven't heard
or
this,
that
bro.
too, right? Or I haven't heard this.
God damn, did I really think
like,
I'm
how
enjoying
proud
this
are
time?
you?
What happened?
Yeah.
It's just like I think a lot of people are more stuck than they realize, or there's this feeling of like fear that kind of paralyzes you. And I think seeing you step from behind the fear and then continue to push forward is what people are connecting with. Like when you're just getting by day to day and going to work, and not that isn't also a feat in itself, because getting up and going to work and paying bills is a job in itself. But the fact that you said, you know what, I want this, I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to do it. I have to work on myself. I have to work on a relationship. I have to do all this, and then made your dreams come true is what people are like, oh, wait, hold on, it is possible. Because you always think first, well, the reason why I can't do it is because I got my 9 to 5 and I can't make it my 5 to 9. And you did it while you were still in your 9 to 5. So I think that's super dope that people are seeing it and they're hearing it and they're listening to it. So they're journeying with you. And I think that's why they're like, oh, hold up, Bex. I remember when you said on episode 30 that you had just bought your camera. So I think that's why. And you should be really proud of that. Because that takes a lot of self-discipline and a lot of work and a lot of, when you're a freelancer, there's no one to tell you about, like, what you're about to do. Like, when you're a freelancer, it's like, I mean, I'm technically going to say, I can push that call back to 11, really, because I'm still sleeping.
Yeah.
Like, you can still do it. But the fact that you are doing it is a major thing.
And I just also want to add to, even though it's cliche, just live in your truth more. And that, like, I know, and I'm saying that from experience, because that will help you to really appreciate time and appreciate the things that you're doing. When you're, and the reason I said, because it's like when you're not lying, but when you're like living a fake life essentially, or not being completely honest with yourself about things, of course the outside, everybody's gonna view it a certain way, but you know the truth. You know, and I'm not judging you or saying that you're not, but just be a little more kinder and more honest about things with yourself. Take time, and that's when you'll learn to appreciate, wow, maybe I am putting in the work that I should be doing. Like, maybe it's not what I'm imagining it to be.
Coming from someone who does the beating up with a bat, per my therapist, I completely understand where you're coming from, where you're like, yeah, fuck out of here. You don't even really know. That's the easy thing to say. So it's easy for you to just beat yourself up and not step back and be like, you know what? 10 years ago, I wasn't doing this. 5 days ago, I wasn't doing this. It's easy to just dismiss it, because you don't have to face all of the hard work you put up, or feeling like you didn't do enough work. So it's easier for you to just be like, oh, thank you, but whatever, I'm not doing enough. And I don't want to make it like just a Haitian thing. I just think that that's kind of just how we were raised, that if we weren't doing X, Y, or Z, you're not doing enough.
Can I say something?
Not even enough.
Can
not
I
doing anything?
Anything.
Right.
So us being freelancers, that seems like we're not doing enough, because that's just new. That's just new to our household. My mom, I don't think my mother I still don't think she gets it. But I think when I went to Paris and a complete stranger in Paris said, "Hi, are you Alicia P?" That's where she was like, "All right, I'm fall back a little bit, because we in a whole other country, and she doesn't know her from a can of paint." So it's hard when you grow up in a household and you're kind of like, the gavel is hit constantly, daily, hourly, minute by minute, that you feel like you're not doing enough. So you're literally untying and unlearning all of those practices. So it's still early. It hasn't even been a year of therapy for you, right?
No.
So,
it's going to be a year in April, a little bit before my birthday, like a week before.
Just imagine, you're going to be 32 this year. You're undoing 30.
She's gonna be 21.
Right.
Why you play?
I still get carded.
Right.
Every time.
Why you play?
87? Yes, 87.
Don't hate. So,
No, but even
I'm
in the
gonna be a smooth
undoing,
25 this year.
it's doubled, because I have to undo but then forgive.
Right.
Yes. So
And that's very
as well, 'cause
myself.
You don't know how to do that either.
Yeah, I'm right. That's very tough.
It is.
Because it's like, what was wrong with you? Like,
Right.
kind of, and this is years back, but it's really learning, and it's not, maybe it's not, it's forgiveness and mercy to those who gave me those 32 years of conditioning, because it's like, they didn't know
They didn't.
my experience being here in America, or being,
Right.
they didn't know anything.
They
They
were
did their
literally
very best.
And I was gonna say to you, you said something when you first started. I don't want to say it's a Haitian thing. It is a Haitian thing.
No, it is.
Just like it's a black thing. Just
Right.
like it's a my parents are from down south thing. Just like it's a I was raised in the hood thing.
Yeah.
Just like it's a I'm a project kid. That's just how it is culturally. There's something in every culture, subculture, subculture that has created and conditioned us to be the way that we are. But Rebecca, you hit it on the nail. It is about forgiveness to the people who raised you in that culture, to yourself for continuing to grow in that culture. It's a lot of that.
And I think for me and you, I think the forgiveness is gonna come from our moms, and that's gonna take some time.
It is, because she's,
It's gonna take time.
It's there. It's one foot in the door.
I don't take away.
is it?
A toe.
It is.
It's a light wrap.
That's better than what you did 6 months ago.
At least your toenail is in the door.
Right. But it's gonna come with that, and I think
Long.
I think
Long
you
and strong
absolutely,
Long and strong.
absolutely need to still confide in, or start confiding, or confide in more in the people that you know you can trust their opinions, who will, in a sense, still be can play devil's advocate and still somewhat be biased to you, but a healthy bias.
Yeah.
Like, when you reach out to me about certain things, I think you know that you can come to me and it's a safe space in a sense. So, and I think everybody needs a safe space or someone they can go to that they can feel comfortable with discussing and just letting loose and just being like, what am I doing wrong? Why do I feel like this? I constantly do this for people, but I'm not getting this back. And they could be like, this is why. This is how you did it. Did you deserve it? No. Do you deserve it? No. Is it something that you should address? Yes. If addressing it isn't something that you think needs to happen, then you got to make it right with yourself and be okay with that and realize these are the things I did wrong in the situation. And now you can do a better job at picking out who needs to be in your life to what capacity. And, child, it's a lot, but it has to happen. And please, Rebecca, and I say this 10,000 times to you as much as I can, because I think you really need to hear it. I am so proud of you. You need to know how much you are growing and how fast you are growing. The fact that did you hear your updates? You did all of that in your updates was nothing but creative. And we've been begging you since we started this for you to use your creative mind, and that's exactly what you're doing. Maybe you need to go back and listen to a few Black Girl Podcast episodes. I don't know if you heard of them. And just see how far
a little 5 group girl.
Just see how far you've made it. Like, and then you're gonna be like, okay, I could be proud of me. And I'll do the same thing because I'm sure I sound completely different from 2016. But it is okay to be proud and just say thank you. Try not to say fuck out of here to them anymore.
I'm not saying it to them. I'm dismissing them mentally with a fuck out of here.
Try not to. So what my therapist told me was every time you mentally fuck out of here or dismiss or say something negative about yourself, counteract it with one thing that you like. Or just say, I love you. It's going to be hard. Because sometimes I'm like, I love you.
Oh, Haitian face.
But I say it right. And that just lets me know how much work I have to do for myself. As confident as I thought I was, there's some confidence issues there. As egoless as I thought I was, there's some ego issues there that I'm dealing with shit that I thought I would never give a fuck about with someone that's not even that important. I'm letting it affect me. So I do think to try that homework. Just anytime you feel.
I do it here. Like, people will say things to me like, they'll say, I'm not going to say what they say, but it'll be complimentary things, and they'll be saying it sarcastic, like, oh, you think yes. And they're like, oh, my bad.
Yeah. So is that the energy you like?
That's not me. Like, I'm not me to like live like that.
Because you're responding well to the sarcasm, like, yeah, I'm that bitch. But if somebody's genuine,
say that. No, but they said something else. It's like, yeah, like without like, but
is that what drives you? Do you need like that snarkiness?
No,
to
I think so. I'm gonna say yes.
No,
I'm saying
no, I don't. I would have. No.
It's good. The picture.
I just think it's challenging.
It's going to come together, and you're going to see.
But that's not one of them. That's not.
That the things you're doing are worth it because it's what you are doing.
Yeah, a lot of people I used to work with in the past who specifically Kurt, who was the videography team that followed Hillary Clinton as she was on her campaign. And they do like documentaries and movies and Sundance and stuff like that. Like, he's been reaching out to me and just like, the content you're doing is just, and just from someone like him who I used to work with at BET, and then to see what he's doing now, and he's still like, yo, even for how far he's come or he's gone, to be like, yo, that was like, okay, when I say this is what I want to do and I say fuck everybody, I'm going to do it anyway, like, that voice is the right voice to be listening to.
And you need to say it's self-taught, and you need to say you did it within less than a year and a half.
Be proud of yourself, bro.
People who went to college for this shit for 10 years, and the content you have is better. And not shaming those people, just saying that you actually have a gift for it.
Thank you.
Keep it popping.
I love it. Maya Angelou actually has a really dope quote about it. And I think about modesty. And I think a lot of us, especially as women, will go to modesty first, just because it's like we can't something there. It doesn't let us stand in that like I'm proud.
Socially, it's also like unattractive,
right?
But it's really not.
Yeah, and Maya Angelou actually said it. She was like, whenever I'm around someone who is modest, I think run like hell and all fire. You see, I have no patience with modesty. Modesty is a learned adaptation. It's stuck on like decals. As soon as life slams a modest person against the wall, that modesty will fall off faster than a G-string will fall off of a stripper. Okay. She was just like, you don't want modesty, you want humility. Humility comes from the inside out. It says someone was here before me and I'm here because I've been paid for. I have something to do and I will do that because I'm paying for someone else who has yet to come. And it's just like,
come on,
first of all, Maya
Write it up, sis.
But I was looking at that the other day. It's like modesty really isn't real. It's just like a default. And like I work on that too. Right. It's just like easier to say, no, like, no, don't look at me because we're all human and we're all growing and
it's
we're all
for the other
making
person,
mistakes.
though.
Yeah. And it's more like, no, don't look at me because I'm not perfect. Don't think that. But even in our imperfection, there is something to be said about making things happen for yourself. So like I challenge all of us to do that, because I'm sure anybody who compliments any of us, we're probably like, girl, please, child,
get the fuck out of here. Right.
So I'm saying, earlier when Seth was talking to me, he was like, what? It was about specific pricing for something, and he was like, Safira, first of all, you have the talent, you have the technique. Why? He was like, you don't believe in yourself, and I was like, you are absolutely right.
Yeah, it's a fact.
You are honest.
Yeah, I think we also, and someone made this aware to me as well, that sometimes I apologize for just like, hey, I'm sorry I did this. Hey, I'm sorry for that. And it's like a constant reminder
passiveness.
Of just being apologetic for even just being in the room.
Just, yeah.
Not good. And I didn't know that I should be confidently walking to these rooms and not ever needing to apologize about something that doesn't matter. Like, oh, I'm sorry that I didn't do this. Oh, I'm sorry I'm in your way. Like, I should be unapologetically okay to be in that space. There's no reason for me to apologize. And I didn't know, like, I wasn't made aware of that until I realized how often I actually say it. And I try to catch myself, and I'm like, wait, why the fuck am I apologizing? Like, what is that? And I think women have just been, not all women, I think some black women have just been conditioned to feel as though they cannot stand in the room unless you have purpose. And if you don't feel like you have that purpose, you then apologize for being in that space. If that makes sense.
No, it does.
What you're saying makes
crazy.
sense.
It's just a conditioning thing that we have to uncondition.
We all have purpose.
I used to always feel mad that like I kind of exist and then my body is here.
Right.
Because I always felt like I can't enjoy just being as everyone else seems to just being. Like I have to have this split like understanding that I'm here mentally, mind, and then my body is doing everything that my mind is commanding it to do. But that's kind of like, I guess, the way it should be. Like you should be moving in that direction. But
But
I don't know what I'm trying to say. I just always felt like it wasn't fair that I was always looking at myself and people just got the opportunity to just be. And they weren't tasking themselves with doing that, or if I was even doing it wrong. But it was always like I felt like I was split. And I was like, this isn't fun.
But
it feels lonely.
Imagine if you feel that way and there are other people who have had to get to where they are in that room to just be. That was a struggle too. So don't be so hard on yourself. Right. Like, I'm so separated. I can't, blend the two. And I'm not discounting. I'm not making fun of what you're saying. But don't be so hard on yourself to where you think and overanalyze to that point, because everyone has their own struggle. I know a lot of times you've had conversation with me like, Saf, you're so outgoing. You're so this. I wasn't always that way. It took things for me to be that way. Like whether it was my own personal reasons of, like me and Gia was just laughing on the side. Safira has big titties. Like sometimes I have to figure out how am I going to enter a room with big breasts and being a personality, being this type of person, and people not making highlight of
you being a personality?
Yeah, I admitted it.
Come on.
She put it long and hard.
It was tough for her.
No.
I'm
just saying, don't be so hard on yourself. Like, you're going through that.
I hate that. I'm not that hard. I'm not as hard as I used to be on myself. I'm definitely not.
Progress.
But I'm just noticing that. I mean,
everybody goes.
You go through stages, and the emotions that you feel as you go from step to step isn't the same, and it also isn't as intense as the emotion before. So I think, you know, when you go through stages of grief and loss, it's stages, but each stage is faster, longer, slower,
whoever. Yep.
But I think the next thing I am is feeling like a little bit. I don't even think this is the right word, but it kind of feels unfair in a sense, because it's like, and I mentioned it to you, Saphira, in the past, how like you have to think for people and think for yourself because they don't think. Period.
You have said that to me
and I'm like,
times.
that's not fair, because I'm doing the work to do that consideration and compassion, and it's not being done anywhere else. And it's like, or reciprocated, and it's just like, well, damn, am I taking the wrong road? Because that looks like freedom.
Right.
That looks like freedom right there. And I'm over here lugging some Timberland boots up a fucking hill in Jamaica Estates. Like, it ain't fun.
Yeah.
It ain't fun. But it's like, but then I also said to Saphira immediately after, would I want freedom that way? Like,
and everybody's freedom look different.
Right.
that's true.
Everyone.
It's just when we see people who live in their skin, you know how you see somebody that's comfortable in their skin?
Yes.
Ooh. Sometimes it could be like a good intimidation. Nothing that you should be envious about. Well, no, let me take that back. It can be a healthy envious to see someone
And desire it for yourself.
Right. It's more like a desire where you see someone so comfortable in their skin and you're like, how did you get there? What did it take? What did you do? How much work did you put into yourself? Is this something you just knew how to do? Did it start from your family? Like, how did you get there? So I understand what you're talking about when you see freedom. Like, for me, when I see someone free, I see someone comfortable in their skin, no matter the size, the complexion, no matter the disability, no matter the whatever. Like, when you're comfortable in your skin, your confidence, your esteem, your ego, all of that is in check.
But I think we're saying freedom two different ways, because you see freedom as somebody who is who has this like sheet of acceptance over themselves. They accept themselves. That's not the freedom I'm discussing. The one I'm discussing is those that just like are just fuck it. Like, it's kind of like ignorance is bliss, and they're blissful because they don't care. Like, they, you know, like, it's just, I don't feel like that piece is in, I don't know. And this is maybe me judging, and maybe I shouldn't go down this road because I'm told myself I'm not going to be judging, but it's a different energy than what you're discussing. But that freedom is the freedom that I'm working towards, not what I see when I'm just like, but I'm, you,
it's a no fucks given freedom. Is what you're saying.
Which I think it is the same thing, but it's not.
Right.
It's not.
It sounds like just two types of ways to express it.
Like, yeah.
Everybody's free differently.
Free, yeah, right. Because even the free people have something that's chaining them. They're chained to something.
Right.
Like, we don't know what anyone is going through.
Right.
So I'm like, there has to be also some grace for people. Like,
yes.
Like, even, you know, in those moments where we feel like we should know how people should react to things. You know, at the end of the day, we don't know how they see things or what makes them comfortable or what they're ready for. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always like, yeah, I hear you, but you know, like, you know, like, you can't really like force something on someone.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel you on that freedom, but we don't know what that costs.
Because sometimes what looks
what
looks like freedom to you might be carelessness to them, or they may be living very carelessly and it looks like freedom, and it's like a world. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. A spin.
Whirlwind?
Yes.
Yeah, there it is.
Down.
A whirlpool.
Yes.
Maybe that's what it
A
was.
PC Richard. That's what it is.
We encounter people.
Washing machine.
We encounter people at different stages of their life too.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure people who saw us last year would be like,
I don't remember last year.
Gia, your 10-year challenge, you look the same, but I could see that you're different.
Yeah.
Like, just there's grounding in your features today.
Well, first of all, I posted a really bad picture on purpose because I was like, "Ooh, that's the ugly." Like, I look so cute, and I hated the way people responded. I was like, first of all,
hold up, look at my stories because I'm not that bad. I just had a bad makeup night. But first of all, anyway.
And bangs.
And bangs. Oh my God. So I was always ashamed of my forehead. Working with the Wizards made me have, because they were like, so you can get the job, but you have to take the bangs off. I used to wear bangs all the time. Yeah, they were like, you have to take the bangs off because your face looks cut off on the Jumbotron. So 15,000 people are going to see your eyes instead of seeing your face. So I was like, okay, I'll do a side part. That's the most y'all going to get. And I'm
swoop it up.
And then one day I finally was like,
why?
Tyra Banks and Rihanna been winning, so let me just go ahead and win. And since then, so no,
oh my God!
What? They got the foreheads of the millennium, and they been slaying. Okay,
this is very
signing
true.
Many deals. Tyra has been America's Next Top Model has been on since we were 3 years old. So I
wait,
think
it has?
No.
Wait, oh no, listen.
No, it started before Christ.
Yes.
With Law & Order, SVU, and Grey's Anatomy.
Yes.
Because all those shows
15 seasons in running.
Nowhere. They are. Mariska Hargitay is actually real as a cop.
Yes.
You can't tell me.
Yes, she
Benson
earned
is
her
real.
license.
That's
She
right.
did.
She's dead ass
Yeah,
as
she
a
has
cop.
I actually don't want to
Meredith-
see them in anything else.
Meredith
Meredith
Grey.
Grey,
Meredith
doctor.
Grey is a doctor.
I actually had the honor to work on Law and Order, and you could not convince me
Oh, hey,
that
Chris.
she was not a cop.
They're so committed.
Yeah.
They so committed.
It's weird to see Stabler and other things. I'm like, say, bro, you
Yeah.
need to just go back
Go
on
back to the
set.
crime
Like,
scene,
what are
please.
you doing?
Analyze. Put some tape down.
You need to be beating some dude's butt.
Also,
to
the
a pulp.
fact that y'all don't know his real name as actor, because I don't know it either. He's Stabler for life.
What's his face?
I do.
Stabler.
Stabler.
Shit.
His first name is
Stabler.
Lee Officer.
Right.
Second name is Stabler from
I
Law and Order
cannot-
SVU.
No.
So, but no, first of all, his name is Christopher Maloney.
Never heard it
Shout out
before.
to him.
Stabler.
I'm not gonna
Now,
lie. Maloney sounds familiar.
back to the 10-year challenges.
Yeah, I think just one across the room, just one thing.
Where was I 10 years ago?
No,
We can't do
Ten-year
that.
challenge?
No,
No,
That's
no,
be
no.
a fun thing.
No, one thing you wanted. What was it that we said?
Hi,
off
guys.
mic.
We said that we wanted to say what we wish we would have known 10 years ago.
We can all do one. I think we could
One
do one.
phrase.
Let's start with you.
But
Right.
But
It's
can we
initiator.
revisit it though? Because I think that's such a cool
have one.
conversation.
Expand the
Expand it
hashtag.
out.
So then we'll extend it to the next episode. One round and the
one
next
thing.
I
episode.
like that.
Compromise.
And I do have one, sis. Trying to come.
Let me hear it.
Right. Taking time. Like,
No,
buying
I
man.
needed to let her know. If I could tell 10 years ago, Leash, one thing is fuck fear. That shit is not real, and just propel forward and do what the fuck you want. Because the bitch used to be fearful, still is fearful, trying to be perfectionist. Someone told me perfection is a mask of fear. Like, you mask fear with perfection. Like, oh, I don't want to do this because it has to be perfect. Some of that comes from fear. So if I could tell myself anything 10 years ago, is just let go of fear. It's not real. It's all mind made. Next.
I'm still
I would tell myself 10 years ago, 18, in college at Rutgers, woo child,
I would tell myself not to try to fit in and not to try and question my joy and really protect my heart. Because I think a lot of the times I would question it because other people don't experience it like me. Like when you were talking about like the people who were like fear or like didn't like ignorance is bliss. I was like, I kind of feel like that was my experience, especially at that time. And even when we first started the podcast, like I was very much like, oh, why not flowers and candy? And I'm still that, but like in a different
My
way.
Little Pony.
Yeah, My Little Pony and all that.
I had some.
Yeah,
I did.
it was fun. And but I think I did a lot of questioning when it wasn't necessary. When I'm exactly who God made me to be, so I should never try to be like someone else, because that's when you lose all of the goodness that is there. So I tried to just like be like everyone, because I was like, well, I must be doing something wrong. And then next thing you know, I'm like on a slippery slope of like self-doubt and you know, and that takes a long time to get out of. So
Yes.
yeah, would tell myself to guard my heart, guard my thoughts, and guard who I am.
Clean. Peps. That was clean.
Still thinking?
You feel me?
I am, honestly.
I think I would tell myself, or I would tell myself, pay attention. A lot of I can't recall sitting to myself my childhood a lot. I think I tucked a lot of stuff away. There was some amazing moments in high school, college, obviously, post graduation, obviously. I mean, but they don't come easily. They just like something has to be said, and then it prompts me to remember it. But I don't feel like I'm carrying what happened, like the effects of everything, but I'm not really, I didn't pay attention to what happened. Things kind of just happened and I just kept going. Yeah. So I think I would say pay attention because I think I would have made better decisions and better decisions. I would have got myself out of cycles maybe a little bit earlier.
Come on, cycles.
Yeah.
I think that 10 years ago, I would have told 10 years ago SAP.
10 years.
What accent?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Doesn't even matter.
From the island.
I was really trying to think, but 10 years ago, what did happen is I did not learn how to grieve and heal from a situation properly. And that's why I was thinking so long, because it happened literally 10 years ago this month. Yeah. Grieve death properly.
Ooh, child, that's heavy.
Yeah.
That's another conversation.
Yeah.
Another episode.
Just opened a can of worms.
I would love to hear what advice people give themselves like 10 years ago. So if you guys want to tweet us or DM us, we can have our girl Khadijah saying here. She been saying here.
Shout out to
Khadijah. Shout out to all of our interns.
Yes.
We
Why you
love
gotta
it when
catch
y'all
my
are
bad
in
side?
studio.
Like, I'm sick of
Excuse me.
We're still.
You over here yelling at the live. Okay.
Good night.
We are, but we're super grateful for our interns, but we really do want to hear, like, what would you have told yourself 10 years
Facts.
ago? And I mean, if y'all are okay, say you're okay with like us sharing it on the show, because that might be something cool to like, get y'all involved in, because 10 years was a long time.
It sure was.
It wasn't, but it was.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
But it was.
You know, it's crazy. I feel like it was yesterday sometimes.
Yeah.
I was
But-
22.
I was
Me
18.
too.
I
That
was
was
a
my-
spring chicken
That
of
was my
12.
golden year. April 22nd, I'm 22 years old.
Nope, I'm not giving you a high five.
I have some news about my birthday this year for y'all, but after the show.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's a
Do that, especially
Not a
on
bashment.
live.
A ton up.
Well,
It's
you
a
guys, sorry, you guys on
Wow,
live. You guys
that's
probably
so
can
rude.
watch
I
from
can't-
live
it's too
again.
many people if I was saying right. Yeah, it's
That's
too
like
many.
that's like when Beyonce and Jay-Z are like, so we're having a Rock Nation brunch.
Right.
You guys can see the pictures.
That's what I just said to the people on live. I'm like, you guys on live can see the birthday on live as well.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we did some good work today.
Yeah.
We know it's a shorter episode, but we gonna be back.
Right.
All 5 of them.
With our 4-hour episodes. Nah,
Right.
that's OD.
I can't even go
They
for
like
4.
it.
We
They
never we
like
touched
it.
4 before.
I don't even know if I want to sit for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
so
saying. I always feel like people can't listen to it.
Yeah.
They
I
pause,
don't have
they come
enough
back.
time. Yeah.
They be leaving, but they come back.
Yeah.
Weeks later.
But right. I mean, that's a
It's a pleasant like. Oh yeah, I forgot. It's a pleasant like little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we try.
Cannot wait to see you guys in ATL.
Yes.
ATL,
Let's
shut
be
it.
back and let us know what bars we should go to so we could do a cool BGP
And what's
meetup.
your club?
Oh, I mean that too.
Magic City.
I mean,
And
I would like to attend.
y'all want to meet
and
up at the Magic City or no?
Candy, again, if you're listening, we want to go to OLG. Let us know what we should do, and we're serious. Portia,
Candy,
if you're watching,
That meet and greet should be at OLG, not
that
just
would be
not just
fire.
the BGP like
They're
to have a
brainstorming
seat,
again.
but
This is
everybody
not
should
official.
like do a meet and greet at OLG.
I heard them food is fazaya.
I heard the same.
Candy, reach out to us. Can't wait to hear
Send
from
some
you.
products too.
Wait, the sex toy line?
This has been a wonderful
I bought
episode.
things.
You did?
Yeah, I gotta tell you about it.
Episode
Okay.
48. I'm Safira M.
Oh wait, in all seriousness, though, before
We're gonna
we
have
do
to edit that.
end- No, that's good because I think that's good. But I do want to, again, apologize to the listener that felt that I was trying to be insensitive, because I really was not, and that was not my intention. So I'm so sorry that came off that way, and I'm sorry that I made somebody feel like they weren't heard. That really is not my intention. So again,
I
we
appreciate
do, have a time limit, and we do have to keep it. But I am gonna learn how to do it a little better. So sorry about that, girl.
I
Sorry,
appreciate that.
and Alicia, sorry about that in person.
Sorry.
Oh, look at girl.
Brittany.
You know what that is?
Yeah, Brittany.
Uh-huh.
Growth.
Thank you.
Oh no, it was this way.
Yeah, that was.
It was definitely this way.
That was inappropriate.
Please come back to HBO. Waiting for you.
But yes, see you in ATL. Super excited. I'm Alicia P.
I'm Bex.
I'm Gia Peppers.
Saphira M.
See you in the South, shorty.
Peace.